Okay, let's solve this lab. So the prerequisite to this lab is that we need to run the lab script, which will set up everything. Open the labs folder on desktop, open, then right click and open terminal here, open terminal here. So you are in the correct folder, or you could also just normally open a terminal and cd desktop/labs. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So now you need to run this main script. Okay, so if you do sudo /m and if you press tab, it's going to hint you the file. Password is Kelly, and then we need to run the Nmap scanning lab, which is option number 1 here. Okay, so I'm going to go with option number 1. So now initialization is complete and the lab is ready to use. Let me clear the screen. So let's proceed with the actual lab. Scan the 1000 most common ports on your local system. So the command to do that is nmap and then the IP address, which in this case would be localhost. You can also find out your local IP address and nmap. The result would be the same. Okay, so let's do that. Nmap localhost. And there you go. It has scanned the 1000 most common ports, out of which 997 are closed. Please note the actual results may vary slightly depending on maybe you have run other services or labs previously. 3 are open, SSH on port 22, HTTP port 80, and MySQL on port 3306. Okay, so the first task is done. What's the second one? Scan only port 22 specifically. So for that you can do nmap -p port 22 of localhost. You can also find out the command from here as well. So for example, scan a single port. So there you go. So SSH is active on port 22. So port 22 is actually open. Okay, second step also done. Let me clear the screen. Now let's move to the third step. Fingerprint the operating system and find the Linux kernel version. So for this, you need to use the -O flag. And you also need elevated privileges. Okay, so it would be sudo nmap -o and then localhost. So there you go. Your Linux kernel version is 2.6.x. Third step also done. Okay, let me clear the screen and let's move to the final step. There is a secret service running on an uncommon port. You must find out which port. So you have to find another port which is open, but it's not a common port. But the challenge is that you cannot scan all the ports. So basically you cannot issue the command which is going to scan all the ports. For example, -p minus this one. Just bear in mind there's a very small difference between a single one and all one. You are allowed to scan the port range between 40,000 and 60,000. So issue one command which scans that range. So in this case, you're going to use the command which basically scans a range of ports which we previously discussed. So what you can do is that nmap -p and then you have to specify the port range, which in this case is between 40,000 to 60,000 and then localhost. So there you go. This is the secret port which is open, 54,000, and it's running a secret service. It's an unknown service. Okay, so that concludes our lab. Thank you.